it's like COVID. Can you see? Can you my glasses? Hanging on my thing.
Yes.
They're like, truthfully, that COVID, the CERB has done more for the homeless situation in Medicine Hat than I can imagine. Like, it actually makes sense, right? You know what I mean? If we didn't have to sell our souls for it, you know what I mean? So I was thinking that all the money that the city, like, because they weren't entitled to any of those rights, right? And of course they didn't acknowledge anything to do with it. They didn't tell me about it, but they took the rights and they just partook in them, right? If they would have went through like the will, you know, but they didn't. They just went ahead and took them. So that all that money, that 40 years of, and what, you know, that money all should be put into a trust fund, like, or the equivalent of what they got levied against the city that particular time, and do our own serve. You know what I mean? Like that kind of money would fund that, right? And everybody qualified, get everybody back on their feet, get everything started, and you know, and start working together for good to them that love God and called according to His purpose, sort of thing, like the verse says, right? But so that's what I started doing last night, and I want to get my Kirsty home, and we're going to take to it. Like I talked to her last night. She's out there in tricks, right? And fucking, it's just not fair, right? Because she's like stuck in that life, and when if she would have, if they wouldn't have been manipulated, and if Marge McLeod wouldn't have done that, and you know what? His son, Marge McLeod's son, is known around here as Dano. Like any drug circle, Dano is a name you know. Like, what's that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that somehow I think I should. Well, how much extra is that going to cost? Or how much extra is that going to cost? Okay. Because I do have a dump. Oh, I do have a dump load that I should be getting out. As far as the yard goes, I mean. But other than that, you know, I think a person should almost just have a sit in. Like, you know, that yard is more set up to hose people. That yard's more set up to hose people, man. No, to help people than, or to, you know, all of us. Like originally when this all started, like before this started, I sort of thought, well, I got that new barbecue, you know, I'll make up, you know, hamburgers. People want to come over, you know, remember the beginning? Because and then, but no. But this was way better. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Like we were talking with. Do you remember? I don't even know that girl's name that was here last night. Do you know what's her name? Actually,
No, I don't. I have her on Snapchat here. I have her Snapchat. I'll let you read it, and then you can tell me what her name is. I'm not that good with names. This one starts with an S. Has the cats.
Cheyenne.
I think so.
Yeah, because we were like, we came up with this idea together about you know, to replace the CERB, right?
Yeah.
And like, and all that stuff that I started sending out at the beginning.
We're still being recorded?
Yeah, we're being recorded.
Okay.
You can turn that on if you want.
Like music?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
I got the other one is usually not playing about.
Okay. I'll play music. You want to pause your music when you're...
Yeah. This ball is good. I called it down. and that's why everybody's accounts hacked. You know, basically.
Now, I've never been hacked like that before. Like, I was really concerned that they won't even refresh my Instagram.
Huh?
They won't refresh my Instagram, so I can't see people's new posts. I can't see people's new stories. I can't DM people. I can't check my own story, my own page. Like, it's weird. It's never been like that before.
Or
I knew something was up as soon as I seen that.
people think you know that little saying, just because you're paranoid don't mean you're wrong.
Yeah.
But like, holy fuck. But like, all I wanted to do, like, and like, my daughter is sitting on the street down there working at
That's
this
not
company.
okay.
And all of that's because.
Because I have a daughter who's 3 years old, and that's my biggest fear is for being on the street. So if I can help you, you know.
Hey, let's talk. We're talking about when you were serving, right?
What do you mean?
Wasn't that the when you woke up to what's the thing?
Yes, so I was in a group home for 11 months, 11 and a half months, so from 17 to 18, because I was aging out.
Yeah.
And I would say the first 3 or 4 months, she did night shift.
Yeah.
Once, only ever once, and I was jerking off when every time she opened the door, because I wanted her to see it, because I knew she was the hottest girl that I'd ever seen that worked for the government.
Yeah.
So then out of nowhere, I fell asleep because I sleep easier after I do that.
Of course, that's.
It's like melatonin, and then I think I did that twice for her opening door twice. And then but then I woke up, and all I hear is "Shut the fuck up! I'm gonna lose my job." And
That's actually.
and then I was living with the whole pregnancy.
That's actually rape. That's actually rape when you think about it. Because no consent.
No consent, and all you hear is "I'm gonna lose my fucking job." Shut the fuck up. You don't tell someone you're raping something like that. But it's like, even if it's rape, I still want to I still want to get a custody battle, you know?
Well, yeah, but
Because I want to get him for weekends or something.
like, did you ever tell anybody about this?
No, I didn't tell anyone in the group home about this because they just thought it was she had a boyfriend the whole time that it was going on for like 3 years prior.
Yeah.
He's a black guy. Like, his name's Mark. I don't know anything about it. He's black and his name's Mark. And her name's Ashley. And I felt bad because, like, you don't be with someone for 3 years and then you do that to a 17-year-old. Like, 3 years of loyalty and then you just something had to have happened to her or him or something. They had done a fight or something. But cheating while in a relationship is not the answer.
No, that's true. The part about McMahon, that's not good either.
No, it's not good that it's a group home under McMahon in Lethbridge.
But like, if like that is so. Oh man, like that. There's all kinds of things like the custody. Like you should have. It should be a 50-50 custody. If you got your shit together,
Yeah.
then it should be right.
Yeah.
And
I was taught how to take care of infants.
yeah.
Then I would go to court. But I want to take like how to change them, how to feed them, how to birth them, how to put them to sleep, how to soothe them to sleep, everything.
Yeah, well. But what if you remember? What would you say to her? When's the last time you talked to her?
When I was, like, the day before I left the group home.
And you never had no contact with her since?
I think I talked to her once, and she straight up said she bought a gun and said, I thought it was Mark's kids the whole time, and I thought I was gonna have black babies, and then I had Asian babies. And she said, if you ever come near me and my kids, I'm gonna shoot you. And then I actually I diffused the situation to the point where she was like, the time the call ended, it was to the point where she was like, okay, you know what? She's like, I don't hate you anymore. It's not your fault.
Not your fault. How can it be your fault? Oh,
Right?
But you instigated. You did.
Yeah, I was jerking off. Yeah, it's my fault.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's every girl wants to sleep with me because I jerk. What? No. And if you see the size, you probably wouldn't get it turned on. I'm just saying. So I just didn't get it, but I don't know. And I was with her the whole like I'd say 4 or 5 months of the pregnancy, I was with her. At least.
Well, yeah,
She had a full belly.
and you're serving.
Well, yeah, I was
Yeah, I know, but
And we had to go to the movies together every Friday, and I'd pick a movie, and I went to the movies with her. I went to get, every month, you get a clothing allowance. So it's $50.
Yeah.
So I go to the Lethbridge Mall with her while she's all pregnant. We go to like Zoomies or whatever to buy clothes, right?
You got like just you and her.
Yeah, like we would do a lot of stuff together.
So the
They basically made me do stuff they didn't know that I pregnant her. And then that probably pissed her off even more. I don't know. The government's weird, man.
Okay, well, I think that we should use this to get a story out there about some of the stuff that goes on that they just try to sweep under the rug. Like they used my daughter against me. Like when she was useful to her, they if they thought they could hurt me, it's like that. The $380,000 they sued me for.
Yeah.
When I said that I was going to use my compensation to go after mayors because I didn't know what. Like when I started this in the beginning, I had no friggin' idea about anything about minor, right? I just couldn't figure out like all the shit that happened at that foster home. How come? Like and from 14 to 16 I get beat. From 16 to 18 I fucking beat other kids. Now if it would have just been beat, I would have probably let it go. You know?
Yeah.
But the fact that I was guilty of doing that, and I was such a coward, I didn't stand up. I suppose
It's almost like you have to ask God for forgiveness so many times a day while you're there, right? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, exactly. Because
Where it's like it just doesn't feel like saying sorry is enough, so you just keep repeating it, and you just keep out. And with your faith, you know it's enough, but it's like you just feel so guilty.
Well, yeah, and the fact that how can you even call that your faith, or how can you even call that your commitment?
Not what you're doing is faith, but
Well,
having faith.
I know, but what I'm
that
saying,
how do I explain this? That you'll be forgiven.
well, yeah,
You know?
well, yeah, but after a while, you sort of wonder if you're going to be forgiven because you keep doing it, and then
Yeah.
and then on top of that, you got to think when our brains are developing, when we're out there, our brains don't finish developing
Still like 21 or something.
Yeah, 21. So
And if you smoke weed when you're like 14 or 15, your brain never fully develops.
I probably disagree with that because you know what I mean. There's a lot of people out there that, like, it's like some of these people who couldn't learn in school, you know, didn't learn math or anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't.
They sell dope. They start selling dope. All of a sudden, they know math.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's a necessity. You learn this. You do that. You know what I mean? But the system's got its flaws, and and maybe because I couldn't stand up, maybe because I couldn't stand up to mayors then and say no, this is enough. Well, I did tell my counselor at 7 persons that what was going on out there, but Will Mayor, the guy, he was on the school board.
Okay.
So how far do you think that went? I tell my counselor, Wally Regier, that about everything that's happening, right? Boom, boom, boom.
And then the school board gets a hold.
Well,
And then you're getting probably beat again because they just found out that
Oh.
you told them.
I got beat when I got home. Yeah, I got beat.
Yeah.
But guess what happened to Wally?
Yeah.
He became mayor of Irving.
Really?
Yeah. And guess what school he went to next?
The one that you went to?
Yeah.
And he was.
I was at a 7-person school, and before it used to be called Division 4. But
Okay.
after when they got charged and everything like that, they switched all the divisions around in Alberta. So if you're making reference to Division 4 now, it's probably up in Alaska or what? No, Alaska, not in Canada. But it was like they had this suite that gets rid of all the evidence, you know. And like you grow up and you see all these criminal elements, right? But in reality, in the government, they got their own criminal element. In the Gurplums, they got their secrets they don't want out there.
Yeah.
And this Marge McLeod, like why in the freak? Like, you know, it was enough for them to fuck up my competition, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're trying
like
to make
trying to get Aish or something.
Oh yeah. Oh, if it wasn't for Aish, like, you know what?
What was your conversation before Aish?
What do you mean?
What was your compensation before Aish? Like,
Well-
was it just trying to get on Aish?
Oh, well, I never really wanted to get on age.
Okay.
What I really wanted to do was get my compensation.
Okay.
Because, like when I got hurt, like it was stupidity on the driller's fault. It was stupidity on the pusher's fault, and it was stupidity for me to let them put the winch line on me. But that we had just pulled Clayton out of the mud, and as I pulled him out, you understand the drilling rig at all?
No, I never rigged, so
Yeah.
I could ask my brother, and he would know lots about
Okay.
it, and he could explain to me. But
Well, you know, they basically, it's like you take a hand drill and you put it in the ground, right?
Yeah.
You can only go like
so far,
so far, right? So when you get to that point, you basically hold on to the pipe or the drill bit, right? And then you break it apart, take the top off it, put another pipe in, spin it together, and then you lift it up and and they're called slips, and you pull those out and you drop it down to the full length again, and you start over, right?
okay.
But when you get the surface hole, now the surface hole is like a big hole, and what it is you need to seal off the formation, because as you're drilling later on, if they get a gas or a kick or anything like that, you want to be able to close that off so it doesn't get around and kill everybody or whatever happens, right? So when you drill the first depth, it was like 90 meters, right? And that's a big pipe. And then when that's done, you pump cement into it so that the whole thing gets cemented around, so it's a seal, right?
Yeah.
Right, so it can hold pressure, right? Well, when that's done, then you got to put a bowl on it so that you can mount the things that seal it in. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. But we're at that point when we were on the way to work that day. Me and Clayton were in my truck, and we almost got killed on the way to work because we just came around. Like, so I was a little fucked up when I was at work because like we just come probably 7 persons. Do you know? Have you ever driven that road past 7 persons out to Tabor?
I don't think I've been to Tabor. My sister lives in Tabor.
Okay. Well,
so if I ever go visit her, I'll see that.
Okay.
I'll see that road.
Well, yeah, but there's a corner that seems to be always foggy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we just were just getting into the fog, and I hit some black ice, and I started to do some 360s, okay? And
On black ice?
On black ice.
Yeah, that would happen.
And I had it in 4-wheel drive, of course, too, eh? So, but anyways, and it must have did 3 because I've seen the highway 6 times. Or I've seen the ditch road, 6 times, yeah.
Because that'd be 3.
And all of a sudden, the semi comes flying towards us and the whole bit. I thought we were gonna die, and we didn't die. God protects us, right? But I told at the last minute, I says to Clayton, he's sleeping, of course. The whole thing, he's sleeping, eh? And
Did you scream
and
at
then
him?
we're gonna roll. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
there was mini what do you call those mini fucking Ford Broncos minis, the smaller size. They were considered top heavy, and usually when they get in the ditch, they roll, okay? So I thought we were gonna roll, and I figured, well, I better wake them up at least for the time. Then we
I
get
think someone can handle getting a car rolling if they're sleeping better.
yeah,
Because they're not so tense, they won't tense up.
That's
They're
exactly,
relaxed, right?
Yeah, I had a driller that he always wanted to sleep, but I followed him in, and it was weird. And it was for Hemsing, eh? And Hemsing was actually the part or the owners of the company that I was working for. It was artisan, but there was something to do with Hemsing, and they kept switching over, and you know. And I'll bet you Hemsing are involved in that college shit in Brooks, where it's on Dad's property. And none of that shit's fucking legit, but you know, it's just scooped up. But yeah, so we get to work, and now usually what you do is you dig out the mud, and you have to make around the pipe. You want to dig about enough room, and the standard idea is so a fat welder can come in. Like, not that so everything has to be a little bit bigger, right? And you stick it out, right? And usually my driller that day was Jack, and Jack Waits, which was actually the Clayton was working roughneck. No, he was working motors, and I was working roughneck. And Oh, oh yes. They have in the books. This is where they lied on the compensation,
Okay.
because they're saying that the accident, that accident that happened, that date I'm describing right now,
Yes.
happened,
That hurts your back.
that hurt my back,
Yes.
3 months before it actually happened. So that I worked for the 3 months up to the accident. So obviously nothing happened, and that's what they based everything on. Do you understand the principle there?
That's stupid because who cares that you worked for 3 months before you got hurt? It's the fact that you got hurt.
They're saying that it happened 3 months before
Oh, that you got hurt.
that I got hurt.
That's not possible.
I know. So that's the lie.
That is a lie. I
See-
can tell that's a lie because if you get hurt and they say you got hit 3 months prior, but you've worked for 3 months.
Well, the thing about the 3 months prior, Jack wasn't on holidays. Or no, he went to push another Rick. So we had Rick Coons come in. So on the day they're saying the accident happened, they had the wrong driller and the wrong. See, I had a lawyer do this. If I had an actual, if he was actually doing his job, they would have brought that point up. How come if you say the accident happened 3 months before it, and you know what's even weirder? Like you know,
Like you should have just been like, here's an X-ray, or here's this, or here's what the doctor says about my back because of what happened.
no. None of my medical ever made it to none
To
of
the court?
It's like you try to send a message to, okay, let's say in order for you to get paid, you have to send your stuff out now. What happens? It gets blocked.
Yeah.
Somebody interferes with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't go. All the time this is going on, my medical wasn't there. So no
So-
medical on file. All we got is this is how it is, right? I never even got diagnosed my back problems until I was actually on AISH.
Really?
Really, when I tried to do it, medical, I tried to get it all done. None of that stuff stuck. No doctors would touch me. Nobody wanted to get involved. So, of course, there's no conflicting stuff because they were manipulating everything. Like Shakoniak, the guy that had a heart on for the longest time. I never figured it out that his dad was the original RCMP investigation, or his mom was the second highest person in Palliser Health Authority. And at one time, I had got hurt at when I was working at Gas City Auto, and I was told to go upstairs and grab a blade for the quad so they could push the snow off the lot. 'Cause Rory got a new quad, and they always put all this stuff along the stairs. And as I was coming down the stairs, I tripped with that blade, and I bent over my foot backwards.
What?
Like this foot here,
Yeah.
it bent right around.
Oh, like this way?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, it's fucked up. So
That's a full break.
Yeah.
That's a cast and a half.
And I was set up for compensation. I was supposed to go to school and everything.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I had just, when I started working for Rory, I had just, that was the winter that I spent on the streets. That was
Okay.
that was the one. That was the winter that they took everything away. First, they were trying to. Oh man. I was working. No, I wasn't. I had ended up homeless, and I had somehow, and this is how I got the job at Gas City. I was living at a Frank's place, and he was a friend, and I had met him through a renter that used to rent off me when we all lived on 15th Street. And when he found out I was homeless or whatever, and that I had spent like all winter on the street, like he was really nice, and he was having problems with his wife had just died, and he was an old guy, right? And so I basically washed dishes and looked after him, and kept company.
Yeah.
And all that, and everything was going good. Like he would even let me you go take the car, or he had a van, and exactly like this Blessings van I had, eh?
Yeah.
And it was where I first ever drove a Ford van, and I liked it, eh? And so I ended up, and I started working at Gas City Auto, and then everything was going great. And then all of a sudden, I get this letter delivered to me at Gas City Auto saying that they had took over, like the doctor, like his doctor, had took over control, that saying that he was being manipulated by me to, and I was looking after him, like I was helping him, right? And they said that everything's been videotaped, I'm not allowed to go back to the house, and then dropped this off at my work. And then all of a sudden, boom! Like,
And then you got fired, probably, right?
no, well, no, I didn't never get fired of that
Okay,
job. I
that's
got
good.
hurt, right?
Oh,
and then, but the point was, like, my whole living arrangements were good. I had a decent job. Everything was starting to be stable again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, and it turns out the same guys that when they manipulated and changed that trial date for the for when I was arrested on the property when I squatted, and I went up to see that day. I remember that because the reason I actually worked for Bison Sons was Dallas Kiltel, and he is the best like he's so good at building stuff, right? And Bison Sons he was their best man. Like that guy with the tin snips, he could make you a cake, you know, on a tin, you know, the way he is. He's that good, right? And he got an inheritance. So so what he did was, and this was right after I squatted, because I had sort of met these guys when I squatted, because they would come around and stuff, And so Dallas said, "Come live with me," and that was the day that that was when I lived with Dallas. The minute I moved in, their power got shut off. It was like the city. It's like I was this bad luck charm. Wherever I went, bad luck went with me, right? And it was always the cities that was the one with the bad luck.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now I'm working at Bison Sons because later on in a bit, and I get charged. The first thing I gotta do is I was charged for trespass, right?
Yeah.
Like and it wasn't the day I went down. No. It was like days later, right? First off, the very first time they said I had fines, so they dragged me off that. And the first time they came to that property, the one guy that was in charge, do you remember that video that was on there with that Christian comedian's talking?
Yeah.
Okay, that one. The two guys that are walking up to the house.
Well, I didn't see their faces.
Okay, but you can tell
Right.
one's short and one's tall, right?
Yes, I seen.
Okay.
I seen the video.
Okay,
It was.
well,
I was on that side TV there against the wall.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the short guy,
Monitor.
he turned out to be the guy that ended up throwing me down the stairs this other time, right? But the
Okay.
tall guy, he was the guy in charge of getting everybody off there. And I kid you not, you know what he says? He says, "Get everything off off that lot. Get everything. Go walk and make sure there's no rocks piled up."
That doesn't really make sense.
No, not unless you know anything about a Jewish tradition, if you go taking land and all that shit. Like, actually know, why would they, you know, like, and I'm saying I'm Harry Binder's son, he's Jewish, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're checking for things that I might do. And to tell you the truth, the only thing I did out there that would have been constitute anything is I got an ounce of pot and I fucking put it into a little.
Wow. It's
No.
So what if it was before? It was
No.
legal, you know?
But what I'm saying is, and I put it in little gram chunks and I buried them
Yeah.
all around it. Just so they're not gonna get all this shit. They're not gonna have
I'll come
what?
back and let weed.
Well, yeah, at least have weed, right?
Yeah.
And so they basically take all my shit. They take it down there and they arrest me for this fine. I think I had to do 12, 14, 15 hours, right? And then I'm in there and I'm fucking, and then I'm thinking like, this Marie McLeod. Do you remember I told you about the guy that kidnapped my mom?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, and then he sent her somewhere, and she walked around town forever, couldn't find where she was. I found a
let me-
landmark in town.
Yeah, because he dropped her off from Ross Glen, okay?
Okay.
Well, this guy's the actual married to the judge's sister that's doing all this shit, right? Isn't that weird, eh?
Yeah, you said
Okay,
that's
okay.
why you could. That's why
Okay,
you never
so
got charged.
I'm in jail the first time, and I get on the phone to Murray Leonard, right? Because I've confronted him a few times, right?
Mhm.
And I said, now you better get me the fuck out of here, right? I said, because I know you got the judge influences and all this shit, right? And all of a sudden, I got released. Like I freaked out. I'll tell everybody every fucking thing. Get me the fuck out of jail, right?
Yeah.
And then boom, I was released. And then I fucking grab all my shit and I drag it back to the place where I was squatting, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I think it was probably 7, 8 hours. All of a sudden, arrested again. I had more fines, right? They just found some more fines.
How do you find fines just getting out of jail?
Well, yeah, you know.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, it was a conflict of stories for sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
'cause, like-
so this goes on 2 or 3 times, right?
Okay.
Okay, I've been and I'm getting sick and tired of dragging my shit back for it. Well, I didn't have to take it there because the cops had to pick it up, and then I just drag it back out, and then they pick it up, and I drag it back out, right? But but anyway, so now it's later on in time, and I'm working for Bison Sons, and all of a sudden it's Monday morning. We go in there, and fucking the old man, fat guy, the actual vice guy, and there's a little skinny guy, which is like the second in command, okay? And he starts saying, Jerry, you motherfucker, you ever do that again with my truck, I swear to God, I'll lay you out, man. You're fuck, blah, blah, blah. And he's just going on about me doing something on Friday that I had no fucking idea what it was, right? And then basically fires me, whatever, eh? And then fucking Dallas comes out and he goes, whoa, 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 buddy, fuck that shit. And Dallas is funny, man.
Yeah.
He goes, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
He goes, he says, because what the boss had said was that the secretary from that law office across from the courthouse, that I checked the dates. I went down there on Friday checking to see what date my court was on.
Yeah.
Whether it was Tuesday or Thursday, okay? So this is Friday. So when I came out, I had seen, I think his name's Schlisser or whatever. It's the partner for David Carter. I can't remember. It's I think SLI, and it's a French name too. So
Okay.
it was probably pronounced French too. But anyways, they're partners in that law office right across the street. So they are the people right across the street from the courthouse. From both courthouses, right?
Yeah.
And I says to him, I know what you guys did. I know how you did it, and I even know why you did it. You guys are all going to jail. Okay? That's what I said. You know what the truth was? I had no clue.
But it was a bluff.
It was a bluff.
But they fell for a bluff, didn't they?
Well, they moved the court.
They moved the court date?
They moved the court date. So then, right, so Friday happens, right? And then Monday morning I'm getting fired. Okay, so that's the first thing that happens,
Okay.
right? Monday morning getting fired. And now Dallas is coming out, fuck that shit, right? You know?
Yeah.
And he says, I was in the fucking truck when this all went down. There was no secretary. He never was rude to no secretary. He just told some goofy lawyer that he was gonna, he knew everything about him. Right? That's what he said, right? Something like that. Anyways, but he definitely, the story that he was that they were going by had nothing to do with what it was, right? So then the next day everything sort of seems like it's okay, but all of a sudden we got the special rush order in Brooks, right? And so now we're all at Brooks, right? And I'm doing, I did lots, I did all the wires, chicken wire for like, you put chicken wire up it, right? Yeah, no, you put paper up, you paper the whole thing, and then you put chicken wire over top of it, and then they do like Bison Sons of stucco and stuff like that. And you put
I know what stucco is on the house, yeah.
Yeah. And and then all of a sudden it says, yeah, Jerry Craig was just found guilty in his absence of trespassing on the minor property. I hear on the radio.
You hear that on the radio?
I hear that on the radio. Just like that morning I woke up on the radio and the cops are flying at half mast. It's like, you know, it's like, no, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? How come it's not till Thursday?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And like, oh, you must have got it wrong. You know, and you go down there, oh yeah, you must have got it wrong. Just like the accident happened 3 months before it did. I must have got it wrong. Right? The fact that the actual accident, the people that were there, everything like that, doesn't match up. Doesn't matter. because they're concealing something. And you know what they were concealing?
Where are they concealing?
974th Street.
That
The
house?
house that I was
Is
ended
that the
up.
one you were squatting at?
Dad, I was right next door to the one that was right. I was right there.
Okay.
Like the thing was right there. That's why they wanted me off that property. That's why they cleared the rocks, right? Because the actual house. See, Dad wrote this big thing up on the day of my birth in the Medicine News, right? And that's why when Monty Solberg's secretary had to fucking basically chew them out of the Medicine News to go cover the story because they didn't want it to keep it concealed, right? But yeah, so then I would have been able to if I would have had that day in court and see, and it was that Dietrich Brand that.
So the day you weren't at court is when they threw out the will.
No, the day.
Oh, no, that was your armed robbery.
Yeah, when they're supposed to be deliberating on my or whether I'm guilty or not. And he
Yeah.
said, "Well, I got to really think about this. So I'm going to take the time to deliberate." So
Yeah.
then I went and I did another week in cells. Well, he deliberated, but he wasn't deliberating. He was throwing out the will.
What a that's what fucked up lawyer.
Oh yeah, and here's the thing. Here's how they threw it out, right? Like I don't know if you know anything about Dad, but whatever I say right now is not true. But this is what his daughter was married to this guy, and then he ended up being a senator. He's a senator now, right? And he says that this will is the senile wishes of a crazy old man. Okay, that's it. Okay, right? And everybody agrees, right? It's in judge's chambers, so there's no witnesses, right?
Yeah.
Right? But you have to write the reason down. This is what supports the fact that
Yeah.
this Canadian government official has said it, so it's got to be true.
Well, it's not.
Oh yeah, I know. And here's the thing though. Before that, they gave Dad the Royal Order of Canada.
Yeah, and it's like.
Yeah, you ever heard that medal?
Well, it's like I know that no one I've never been to Suffield or any military base, but I know that I bet no one in Suffield's even got that medal yet because it's the highest medal in Canada.
Well,
it's like the Medal of Honor in the States
for non-combatant.
Oh, for non-military.
Non-military.
Oh.
So you got to do something for your country.
Okay.
You got to do something that's substantial for your country.
Yes.
Like he was considered the father of revolution in medicine. Like he created everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 1973 got the award. I can't even remember right now, but yeah, no. But so by saying that the senile wishes of a crazy old man, you're basically saying that the people that chose him have no clue what the fuck they're doing. So that Canada's medal's worth nothing. It doesn't matter. See, so if you get awarded, if you do the best, and you get
I get the best reward, and then I'm told that I'm nothing.
you're a senile man.
It's like,
I'm crazy wishes.
Yeah, because it's like, I made the two biggest songs that we'll talk about that later, but if I would have got say a Grammy, that's the best thing you can get for music.
Yeah.
Or there's an Oscar, or there's an Emmy,
yeah.
Or there's all kinds of things, right?
And after you get that doesn't mean afterwards that it was no good.
Right? It doesn't. It's a step. It's
you can't take it away. You can't
that medal is a trophy.
You can't take away
You can't take away someone's award because they earned it fair and square.
Yeah.
And that's their legacy, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Like and so then I had no clue. But now after I figured it out and put everything together, and believe me, that's why we're getting hacked. That's why people would come over and say, that's why I don't have TELUS, because I tried to check out my administrative control, and I couldn't even get online. So it wouldn't even let me. So to me, somebody came in before, took it over, and now with this 5G, right? They've got even more substantial tools because it's more prevalent, more around us. I don't know. They can do more with the internet. They figure with 5G they can actually control the internet. No, and that's what the police or whatever. That's what they want. But it's not just the police. It's not just the government. It's not just them. It's the Freemasons inside the government.
But I think they work under the president. I think there's so many people that work under the presidents that the presidents can't even find the Freemasons or Illuminati. You know what I mean?
Well,
because they wouldn't know.
I
don't think they're protecting them. I don't think so, at least.
Well, I don't know if they're protecting them, but they exist, but they try not, they don't want to exist. Like, the part that nobody knows is they're basically in the school system. Like, all
Okay.
these people, because if you look through all the people that have profited over all my bad luck, the teachers have profited the most. The one teacher, David Charlton, he explained it to a class, not when I was in urban school, about Harry Viner's will, right?
Okay.
And this is before it was even done, right? This is before that it was even wrote up. It was wrote up on my mom's birthday.
So how they know what a will before the will was made?
Because it was in the works that he was, because all the kids' mayors were going to urban school, and there was plans to set us up on farms and everything like that, which was basically going to divide up the will, and it was all going to be done, and then I would probably have, I don't even know if they'd, I don't know how they would have really done it, but the fact that I heard about this money, I heard about all this money in trust, I heard about all this stuff out there, and when David Charlton looked up and seen me, he goes, "You done this class, get out of here, eh?" Like, and I've never heard that guy so rough.
Was it a teacher?
The teacher, rough. But it was like I was the person not to hear this story, right? But in the back of my mind, I thought of it. And you know what? His wife ended up being an MLA, or not MLA, fucking on the city council, right?
Oh, okay.
Coincidence, right? And
Is there, like, where would the city council even be in town?
okay, and this homeless thing goes
Yeah.
on now. Dad, all his properties, right? When I met Michelle, my ex-wife, right, I was actually going out with Joanne Belberta, and she didn't like me that much, so she basically pawned me off on Michelle Craig, or Michelle Isman at the time, of course. But in the house was this. We lived up on 11th Street, probably right over here, that 444 11th Street, and we had this party one night, and all of a sudden the landlord came, and I'll bet you money that where the party was one of Dad's old houses. I'll bet you just money.
Okay.
Because Dad had lots of rentals. He had all kinds, tons, right? But all of a sudden, the owners of some of his properties was Pete Visser, who was my English teacher. And like even the house where I heard the message, where I plugged the car warmer in, because when he kicked me in, he says, "I don't care if you paid the rent. I don't care. You're leaving town." He said, "You're either leaving town voluntarily or you're going in a box." Right? That's what the chief of police, Don Kylo, told me, right?
Yeah.
That night. I ended up, and now I'm sitting at Buddy's place, and it used to be Brian Hughes. I grew up, right? When I grew up,
Yeah.
this Brian Hughes house, right? And when I found out his landlord was Pete Visser, that's my English teacher.
Yeah.
And Pete used to always, like, I had this one free period, and he used to always find out what was going on there, what was this, what was that, and he'd just shake his head about how fucking terrible it was, right? Terrible. So I'm guessing that he, in the beginning, he's a smart guy, found all this dirt on him, and then all of a sudden, Pete Visser, who started up, not Pete Visser was my teacher, but Vanderham, he's the guy that fucking, like, he was Dad's hired hand on Burke's farm, right? And his daughter, who married my brother-in-law, I think she was sent to spy on me. And then all
Be
of a
the
sudden,
eyes and ears.
yeah, it was weird, eh?
Yeah.
And then it's like, fuck, all these people. But you know what? I think that's enough that they can get a taste of what the thing is. But what I'm saying, what we need to do is the money, all this money that really doesn't belong to the city, all this money
Yeah.
that was stole that was supposed to go to me. And it's not that I want it. It's not that I want all of it.
Well, not all of it, because he had other kids, right?
No.
I thought he had daughters. You said.
Yeah,
I thought Jerry Wagner had daughters.
He had I have a half sister, and I have a half sister that's not related but adopted, right? But
Okay.
but you see, in a Jewish thing, women don't get squat.
That's not.
That's just the way the Jewish is. Okay.
I know, but like
So you can understand.
for the most religious
you can
people,
understand.
they should
you can
respect women more. I think.
Well, yeah, but you would understand why that woman would feel miffed, eh?
Yeah.
But they're playing like they're the owners and everything. That's what's here. What they haven't sold off or what they haven't sent to China. And you got the guy that says that it was senile wishes of a crazy old man. His brother was like an ambassador in China.
Really?
Yeah. So when you look at all the drugs that are coming in from China and all the money that went out and all, and all the property in China being taken over by in Vancouver by Chinese, right? It's all going to China, right? So we got all these things that started then that are killing people now. Fentanyl's killing people now.
Yeah.
Right. Now we got the landlords that ain't taking no shit because they don't want homeless here, right? Now
Yeah.
they got a problem with people in this property, right? There's 2 empty friggin' suites right there. Each one of those people, the minute they get an address, they're on social assistance that aren't, and the ones that are homeless that are on AISH, they got a place to move in because it's covered. But
Yeah.
they don't want him here. Well, fuck that. Dad wouldn't turn nobody away.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, enough's the fuck enough. Now, I know for a fact I'm right.
Mhm.
Everybody else knows for a fact I'm right too. And I'm saying, I'm taking that money that should have been mine, I want it frozen, put it into a fucking account that the city owns to start with that they don't own. And that money, I want to continue to serve. Because serve works if we weren't selling our soul. Serve works. Like, I have never seen so many less, like, okay, the mask was bullshit, right? All that shit.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason to do it, and that was why the World Bank pays this money in. Well, I'm saying I want that money paid the same way, and I just want people to help people. You know, the only way you can get
help your fellow man.
Yeah, the only way you can get
so
cut
we can all
off
become
serve.
stronger.
The only way you can cut off serve is if you're hurting somebody or being, taking away. Anybody that puts things forward, like even to qualify, let's say you have to volunteer fucking 30 hours a week to get it at some place that helps people.
Yeah, like a food bank or
Food bank, fucking just old guys, anything like that. This is Amanda here, right here. But we're gonna say this off and say hi to Amanda.
hi Amanda.
Okay.
I'm Matthew.
Okay, and I guess what we say is that I think we should plan a sit-in. I think we get a lot of people in that yard, right? Right? It's not a bad yard, right?
No.
Bonfire at night, Like I sat on a roof for 6 days. On a roof. On a fucking roof for 6 days. And I think if I wasn't Harry Viner's kid, they would have left me up there forever. But I think they were scared that somebody would tell somebody, not that I was being unjustly treated, but that I was the thing of a big scam. And at the time, that was the scam. The guy takes out the transfer pumps. He turns the sewer back up into overland flooding, and it went from damage by pulling those transfer pumps. It went from minimal damage to everything's fucked. And the knowledge of how everything they did the same for the 1995 Waters Act, the 1996 Waters Act, and the people that set this up had all the key knowledge to make everything work, to make everything happen. But anyways, good night, bye, see you guys. Now, I don't think that we're going to be able to get this on, but what we should do now is we should set up and videotape the actual, like we're not quite see it down there, that's us right down there.
Yeah.
What we should do now is show how hard it is to put it online.
Okay.
Right? Now, if we do that, we've got to get a thing in there.
Okay.
And, okay, that's good enough. So that's stopped there. And,
oh no, it's not stopped yet. It's still going.
Oh, it's still going. It's still going. We need to get an SD card. I'll take my mini out.